From wanting to end it all to living it all and experiencing the best life I could ever think of. Hi, this is a slightly different edition of being with me, your coach, Unique Sibanda, here on the Black Swan Relationship Academy. I get to tell you about my story. I know I kind of came in with all guns blazing and I was the style concierge and I did all of these amazing things and made you guys look all snatched and beautiful and all kinds of dating properly on the digital apps. But the one thing that you have never really got to hear is my story. How I came to be in this amazing position where I can now talk to you from both experience and training. My story, honestly, is just one of those things I think sometimes you think, oh, it's just normal. This is what happens to everyone. But I guess it's unique to the fact that I know that you will identify with how you can literally turn your life around. And I'm a true living example of how you can turn your life around from really the pits, the pits, to have this amazing, glorious life and being in a space where you really enjoy everything that God has for you. So basically, my name is Unique Sibanda, as you know, and I am your digital dating coach here at the Black Swan Relationship Academy, and I'm also your style concierge. I talk all things fashion, honey. I talk all things style, and I talk all things presenting on digital spaces. But I wasn't always like that. I was a hot mess. Like if you saw me 5-6 years ago, let's rewind back to literally when I was 16 and on the verge of, not even on the verge, I tried to end my life. Because my life just wasn't adding up. My life at 16 just seemed to be a confusion of so many ideas that I couldn't put together. Having been abused from the age of 5 all the way through to 21, at some point at 16, I just wanted to end it. I was like, I had enough of this. I could put that down to the culture. I could put it down to the circumstances and everything that was around me at the time. But it happened. My new saying is always, it happened to me for me, but it didn't make me. It broke me for some time, but those are the building blocks that I needed, that I know you needed for me to be able to share this story with you. I won't really go into much detail about the abuse and all that, but all I want you to know is that I've seen it, girl, and I've been there, done that. Like, my story is messy. So in relation to you and how you now show up in your dating relationships, I am really that girl who wanted to do everything right, who wanted to please everybody, who wanted to be daddy's little girl, daddy's little princess, you know. And I was. And my dad is an amazing man, and he treated me like the princess that I was. My mom as well, they have an amazing relationship. It has its ups and downs. And I could say I had that amazing blueprint of what a relationship should look like. But then outside in the world, I'm coming across all this damage, all this stuff that people are going through and putting on me. And I wanted to fix them. I wanted to fix everything. I wanted to fix every man I saw. I wanted to fix every man I came across. I wanted to fix all my friends who had lone parent homes. I used to bring them home to have dinner with us so they could see what a good relationship looks like. I wanted to save everybody. I was the goody two-shoes. I was the nice girl. To an extent where I didn't have boundaries as to what ended up becoming an abusive relationships and what ended up becoming abuse itself. It just was one of those stories that I still tried to cover up. I still tried to make look pretty because I like pretty things. I wanted a pretty story, but underneath was this deluge of darkness and this thing that was consuming me that I couldn't tell anybody that was happening to me. Then how do you then reconcile all those sexual things that are happening to you outside the home, and then you're coming back to this loving home? How do you reconcile all of those? So really my story has been a journey of learning to reconcile all of that. My journey literally has been just that. So I guess I'll start off from when I thought I had made it now, when I got married to a man who was an aspiring pastor. Well, he had been a pastor back home in Zimbabwe, but coming over to the UK, he is still learning the ropes and everything. I met him when we were quite young, vibrant. He was tall, dark, handsome, and a bit of chocolate, if I might add. And, he was a church-going, loving man who just loved God and did not want to, the whole thing of sex before marriage. He just was on point and was like, look, I just want to do right by you. I want to serve you. I remember he even gave me his first paycheck. After we started seeing each other, he gave me his first paycheck. So, look, you're going to be the woman of the house. I just want you to be able to do this and da-da-da-da-da. Like, listen, I met this guy in September. In December, we got married. Some may say it was a rush wedding, but to be honest with you, it felt right in that moment. Yes, when I looked back, there were signs. Now that I know what I know, he was amazing. Literally within 2 months of the wedding, things just started falling apart. The cracks started appearing, as it were, not just in him, but in myself as well. I was broken, but never ever admitted it. I was born again, saved. I was now living for Christ, loving Christ, doing the things I was supposed to be doing, but underneath I had never dealt with all the issues and all the trauma and all the damage that was internal. All I had known to do was to cover it up. All I wanted to do was cover it up. And boy, did it come to life. It started to show up in my attitude. It started to show up in my anger and my sharp tongue. It started to show up in the disrespect I was showing him. And look, I'm not saying that he didn't have his issues too. He had his issues, but I can only tell you about my issues from my part. I was angry with life. I was angry with God. I was angry with so many things that were happening, but the nice girl in me just wanted to cover everything up. I wanted to cover everything up so badly that the cracks were now starting to show, and I was like, how do I do this? All I want is just the perfect white picket fence with a man who loves me and adores me and showering me with all the things I need. I mean, we didn't have much, but whatever he had, he wanted to give me. And having worked through all of those, like prayer, listen, I was always the first one in front of the prayer line. I wanted to be healed. I wanted to be healed of these suicidal thoughts. I wanted to be healed of this just wanting, not expecting the best out of life. I wanted to be healed of depression. I wanted to be healed of it all, but I didn't realize that I had to actually walk that walk. I had to actually determine in my mind the kind of life that I wanted to live. So enter Chengi Tobin of Black Swan Relationship Academy, then known as Chengi's World. I meet her at this a makeup launch for a mutual friend, and this girl is like bubbly. She's just loving life. I was like, I love that girl. I want a piece of what she's having. But before we get to that, so rewind a few years later, I was now divorced. I'm a lone parent, literally abandoned at 2 months pregnant. I was living with a cousin who decided she didn't want to live with me anymore. And so much was going on. I lost my home. I lost everything, and was at a point of just being homeless with this baby. And I didn't know what to do. Considering as well, I was also, I wouldn't say an illegal immigrant, but my papers were being processed at the Home Office, and I still didn't have concrete stay, as you could call it. I was legal, but there's not much I could do work-wise. So I just kind of moved from home to home, from hostel to hostel. It was not a nice place, and eventually settled with a cousin of mine in Northampton. And I raised my daughter and eventually moved out to be on my own, went back to work, started working when she was 4 months pregnant, managed to find childcare. I did what I had to do. Growing up in Zimbabwe, that's what you do, girl. You do what you have to do. You cover up your tears. you march on and you proceed, and which is what I did. Again, bearing everything I was going through at the time, bearing all the emotions and the pressure of raising a daughter on my own with no knowledge whatsoever what you do with the child, because my mom wasn't here, my dad wasn't here, all back home in Zimbabwe. They couldn't travel, tried to apply for visas for my mom, all rejected 3-4 times. It was just at a point where I was like, what next, God? What next? So even left church because I was that angry with God. I was like, how dare you? How dare you give me this life? I don't want it, but you want me to continue it? How very dare you? And so again, fast forward, kind of worked through a few issues, started seeking therapy, started talking to different people within church and got a bit of counseling. I started putting my foot back into the church spaces. But honestly, it was literally just one foot. I was one foot out and I was like, not too sure. Been hurt by church as well because they rejected me because I'm now divorced. They don't want to talk to me. Lost all my friends because I don't have a husband anymore. I'm a lone parent and you're now viewed a certain way. Any men admitting, I would literally just cuss them out because I just did not want to know. I was like, how dare you all not be like my dad? How dare you all not be gentlemen? How dare you all not be like the men I expected you to be? I was angry. I was very angry with life. So now, fast forward to when I met the amazing Chengi Tobun at this event. This girl was bubbly. She was living life. I was like, I want a piece of that. I want to be like her. She was pretty. She was just everything I wanted. Just in those few moments, I sat next to her and she said the most offensive thing I could ever think of. She was actually paying me a compliment, but because of the eyes on which I heard it with, I took offense. She told me that she wouldn't bring me anywhere near her man because I was too gorgeous. I took offense. She was paying me a compliment in that I was gorgeous. I didn't see it. I just thought, oh, so you think I want to take your man now? So you think that this is the kind of woman that I am? I was angry. I had the resting bee face. I was that angry girl. I just wanted to rip her neck apart, to be honest with you. So I kind of sat back and watched her through the day. And she just went on like she hadn't said anything. So I decided, okay, let me just find out who this girl is. I tell you, God will throw some amazing people your way in a funny way. And that's how this has happened. Fast forward a few years later, I am one of the most blessed people to have known this woman who's transformed my life. I decided I couldn't afford some of her courses. I couldn't afford most of the things that she was doing. Soulmate Attraction of 400 and something. I was like, where am I going to get that? So I literally decided, okay, fair enough, Chengi. I binged on all her YouTube videos. I binged on them. I was like, okay, she's got a point there. I can see that I'm angry. I can see the things I need to work with. And I got to a point where I was like, okay, I need to find a way to work with this girl. I attended her book launch. And that's the first time I actually met her in person. I've been following her on Instagram. I made sure I commented on anything that she posted. I made sure I commented on any story she posted. So we virtually knew each other at some point and finally got to meet her at her book launch. She just blew me away. I read the book in and out. I had the digital version. I sent it to my sister. I sent it to quite a few people. I had literally every single thing that she was putting out there. And now came to the crunch of, okay, I need to work with this woman. I did the Soulmate Attraction. Didn't I just shed? I shed, as in S-H-E-D, the load of what I was carrying. I was able to unburden. This was the pilot one. And I literally told her I would do whatever it took to be able to do this. And we managed to come to an agreement, which I will not tell you because that was between me and her. And I managed to be able to work with her. But what I needed to do was give up something that really meant something to me and invest in myself for a change, which is what I did. I invested in myself and did the Soulmate Attraction. And I can honestly say I came out on the other end smelling of roses. You know that scripture that says he gives beauty for ashes. My story was ashes. It was gone and dead and buried. ashes scattered everywhere over the sea. But what he then was able to do is turn it around to the sweet smelling aroma of the life that I live today. So honey, listen, now comes the whole thing of trying to date online, because of my story that I had of trying to please men. I never ever got what I wanted. The men always got what they wanted, because I was that girl. I was a nice girl. I wanted to please him. I wanted to do everything that my man wanted, and I never knew what I wanted. I didn't know what my core needs were. I didn't know what made Unique happy. So after Soulmate Attraction, I went on a journey of finding out what that was. I discovered a side of coaching I'd never known before. I discovered sides of healing that I had never known before, because I dared to take that step of healing. I dared to take that step of wanting to live this amazing life that God had put before me, that God would have me live. So now, going into digital dating space, I was now able to come from a space where I was coming to it as an experience that I would enjoy. And to be honest with you, yes, I have had some rather interesting days, but I was able to learn how to turn that around and literally enjoy digital dating and online spaces. One thing I didn't tell you, that I am a true introvert, and meeting people in person scares the living daylights out of me. I am that church mouse that will sit at the back and literally just listen to everybody else, never really chime in unless if I'm asked to. But I have learned, because for me the digital space works, and I am able to present myself the way I am seeing myself now. I am seeing myself in this amazing positive light. And this is where I come into your story, my dear, lovely, gorgeous Swan, you. I come into your story and I turn it around, because I make your digital experience amazing. I show you how to show up on your digital spaces. I show you how to show up on your Instagram as a true, authentic, high value woman who has learned and built this amazing life, not just for show on Instagram, but you're actually living this life. We will talk about all these steps and all these things, and once you're ready to go on that journey with me, we can even go on the Soulmate Attraction journey together. We can go on this coaching journey together to get the results of that life that you want to live, and meet the most amazing men, the most amazing high value masculine men out there on this digital space. I hope you've enjoyed my story. I tell you, it's heart-wrenching to tell, but the beauty of it is that it's easy and it's hard. It's easy because I know that I am able to help someone just like me, that little girl who didn't think love was possible, that little girl who didn't think they could turn around their abusive story to one of true love, that little goody two-shoes who thought that I had to please everybody to be happy. I know that I can now help you turn around that story to make it the most amazing life you can ever live. Just like I was saying, it's literally turning things around from a point where I wanted to end it all to now when I want to just live it all. I hope that has been such an enlightening thing, that you can get to know me a little bit better as we go on in this journey, and I talk about some of the things and the topics that we'll be having throughout October, November, and December throughout 2022. I will be sharing a little bit more about my story as the opportunity presents itself. But for now, it has been amazing sharing this story with you, and I hope it touches you, and I hope it really gives you a sense of who I am and why I just love life so much. And I always have this little giggle, because honestly, I have learned to love me and who I am. Okay, my swans, I will see you most probably on another YouTube video on a Friday, or join me on the Black Swan Relationship Academy, or join us on Nice Girl Rehab, because you know your girl needed Nice Girl Rehab, and I have been rehabilitated. Yeah, you feel me? Yeah, have an amazing day, have an amazing weekend, and you gorgeous ones, take care of yourselves, and I will see you either on the other side of a Zoom call or another video. And don't forget, join us on Black Swan Relationship Academy, where I will be doing lives as well and can answer all your questions, your digital dating questions. And if you have any questions as well about the story that I've talked about, feel free to leave them in the comments. I almost forgot. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Because when you like this video, the algorithm is like, hey, this is an interesting video for people to be watching. And we'll just spread it out to the rest of the world. And do share with a girlfriend who needs it. Share with someone who you feel may need this story. Because you never know whose life you're touching. Just like what I'm doing right now. I know, just even if it's just one girl, I'll be a happy girl too. You have yourselves an amazing, amazing day. And I will catch you next week.